Morning to our Facebook fans. Today we are going to play around with our Grand Design Reflection and learn our water system a little bit today. So we're going to start. We're going to wait for our tractor to go by. It looks like he's coming into the bay, so we'll try and get through this part quick before he makes a bunch of noise. But we started out by hooking up our water hose, and we're filling our fresh tank. We're getting ready for our trip out this weekend. If you come over to our water board, there's a bunch of colorful buttons, and a lot of people tend to forget how these function. So it's as simple as looking at the pictures and selecting the function that you're trying to do. In this particular case, we have things set up for our power fill tank from the city inlet. So we're hooked up to our city connection here with our hose. We're letting the tanks fill up a bit. While we're waiting for that to fill, we're going to check a couple things out. Hot water tank. If you're not familiar with this is the hot water heater. This door opens. We have a drain plug here, and that's going to go into this hole here. And when you're not using your camper, you're going to remove this plug to let all the water out of the hot water heater. If you leave it for a week or two at a time, you'll start to get a very pretty foul smell. It's just not friendly. So if you're going to be leaving your camper for a week or two or longer, we recommend draining out the water system completely. So starting with pulling this plug out. This is a 15/16, and this is for the plastic plug. There is another style with an anode rod, and that's a bigger size, and I don't remember that one off the top of my head. But if you have this style plug, it's going to be 15/16. You'll need a small extension and a ratchet to put that in. So we start it by hand so we don't cross thread it. Oops, and it's a little bit of a tight area to get in. So you'll start that till you get it finger snug. Then pop in here with a wrench. Be careful not to jar this stuff too much. You may have to move it out of the way just a little bit. It is a flexible propane line, but you want to be careful around all this stuff. And just snug. You don't have to get too crazy. Again, it is plastic going into a brass plug, so if you go too tight, you can strip those out and you end up spraying water all over the place. So we've got that taken care of. If you want to pressurize the system, we are hooked up to city water here. So we're going to go city water, city inlets to fixtures. So we're going to leave the white one where it is, the blue one's going to go down, the black one's going to stay where it is, and we're going to put this green one vertical. So now just to test that out really quick, we should start to hear air purging, which we do. We're going to plug this in here, turn on our cold side, and we've got water flow from that. Looks like this one's still a little bit winterized. And our hot side, we're going to start burping because we're filling the tank up. And you'll get spitting and sputtering for 30 seconds to a minute, maybe longer, depending on how big the trailer is and how many hot water faucets it's got to get water to. This one's one of the ones that's farther away, and you're filling up 6 gallons, so it takes a few minutes to fill that tank up. And every once in a while, just give it a open to let some of the air purge out. Now we have, we got our water system purged, hot water and cold water side. We're going to go inside and check our faucets inside. And again, this is done on city water connection, so everything's pressurized. We're going to do this both ways before we take off for the trip. Number one, just to make sure we don't have any leaks before we take off for our trip. Number two, to make sure both systems work both ways. So, my feet were wet, so we're going to wipe that off. And again, testing it out here. And you can switch back and forth, hot and cold, to purge out as much air as you can. Make sure you're good. Pop underneath, open up, make sure you don't see any leaks. And again, if you get a purge of air, you just heard that burp. Don't be alarmed, that's normal. You'll get that for a little bit while you're running the system. So again, we got no leaks here. We'll turn that off. We'll move on to our next faucet in the bathroom. Again, we got our hot side. Take a look underneath. We don't see any visual leaks. Turn that one off. We'll check our other side. We're in good shape there. We're actually still spitting out antifreeze. This one's the first time this water system's been touched this year, so just getting out all that remnants. Check our toilet really quick. Toilet's in good shape. We don't see any leaks down around the base or at the back of the system here. And then our shower. Good on that side. Good on that side. So now at this point we are ready to, in a normal case, if you were going out for a whole weekend and you knew you weren't going to a campsite, you're going out boondocking, you know, the racetrack or a friend's property, we would normally fill the tank up to full. In this case, we let it run for a little bit before we started this video. We are up to 2/3 of a tank, which is plenty for this demonstration to finish up. So we're going to come outside, flip it back over to tank, and then just confirm that our water pump's pumping water and doing what it's supposed to do. So we're going to go to the dry camping setting here. So this is water from the tank via the pump. Our white one's going to be to the right, our blue one's down. We're going to turn the black knob down, and both are up. I'm actually going to take a quick run over to where our faucet's hooked up and shut that off, so that we know we don't have both things going. Some of that pressure there. There's a little drip tray at the bottom of this one, which is nice. You can let it drip into there and then it'll go out the bottom. Alright, so we know we're not hooked up to for city water. Out here on this particular unit, there is a water pump switch out here. We got a red light that tells us we have our water pump on. And again, pumping out through the, working in things through the pump, you might get a spit of air. You can see it's kind of starting to get a little foamy. That's normal. And you'll get pulsating. Again, this is normal. Normal for RVs with when you're running off the fresh tank with the water pump. And once you're listening, I'm not 100% certain that you can hear it. If you actually want to get the microphone close to inside here, you can hear the water pump purging. So as I let off, you can hear it pressurize and stop. If you hear continuous running of the water pump, there's an indication that you have a water leak. It's a good idea to shut that off and try and identify where that leak's coming from. It could be a a loose fitting behind a wall you can't see, so you really want to listen for that water pump to make sure that it's turning on. So again, you would run through all the faucets just like we did when we were hooked up to city water. I'm not hearing any leaks, so I'm very confident that that we're in good shape there. We know the water pump's working; it's pushing my water out. We checked for leaks, so we know we're good there. We're going to kind of fast forward and pretend like we're just getting back from our trip with draining our water system out. So, and you can do this before you leave the campground. Again, this isn't for your holding tanks. This is going to be just for the freshwater system. So we start out by draining our freshwater tank. On this particular one, it's got a Bristol. This one's very nice for doing it quick. You pull that, and we'll do this slow. That's going to drain our fresh tank. I've got that about half open, so it's not making a mess all over the place while we're doing this. Under here, there's what's called low point drains. You can pull those caps off, and that'll drain your main lines out. Again, if you're going to leave your water system for a week or two, it's not a bad idea to drain that stuff out and leave that out. So we're going to come back over here. With our pump off, we're going to actually turn on our hot and our cold side and kind of relieve some of the pressure from the water system. So you got a pressure relief valve on the hot water heater. I like to just open that up, make sure you don't hear any like compression or like compressed air sounding, bursts of air coming out. Otherwise, you're going to get sprayed in the face when you pull this cap out. And make sure this is cooled down before you pull this plug. I should mention that too. Let this thing sit for a couple of hours or overnight before you pull the plug, just to make sure that water's not scalding hot when you pull it. Especially if it's still pressurized. And you can get that loose. And stand back a little bit because this can come out fast. So pull your plug out, let it drain out. And I like to set the plug here inside the door. That way I know where it is every time I go to use it. And I'll take those low point drain caps as well and throw that in there. That way everything's in one spot for the next time I'm ready to go out camping. Things are ready to go. Do we have any live comments or questions at this point?
No.
Yeah, that covers our water system for today on the Grand Design Reflections. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and we'll try our best to answer them. If not, we'll see you guys next time.